Hey, it's Shannon from Greenface Labs. This is a sneak preview of the app that controls Greenface Labs' new Eurorack Module, Thor's Arsenal. Today, we'll be talking about the app itself and going over its features. Let's start at the top. Hovering over the Greenface Labs logo, we see a message. There it is. Hi, I'm Morty, your Thor's Arsenal, and this is my control panel. You can do lots of things through this interface that you can't do from the front panel. And you don't have to wade through patch cords to get to the controls. You can change my name in settings. Okay, and here's the name. Well, that's great when you have a lot of arsenals, or more than one anyway, and you need to tell them apart when you're talking to them through this app. Okay, over here is the info button, and this shows a list of keyboard shortcuts. You'll love these. And over here is the refresh button. Now, suppose someone goes over and pushes some buttons on the module itself, which I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to select output 4. So we don't see that here, but when you click the refresh button, it shows that I have selected output 4. If I'd made any changes, those would be reflected here also. So this is a great way to bring the app up to date with any changes that somebody might have made. So let's go back to output 0. Okay. Now, here on the left, we see the function buttons. And there's the 8 function buttons that correspond to the ones on the module itself, plus you get a settings button. Okay, now over here is the message and waveform area, right here. This area shows the waveform, if there is one to show, or it shows the various messages that the module sends. You can select either the message or waveform view using this control here. Okay, so below that is the parameter area. This is where you have access to all the parameters of whatever function is selected. You can scroll up and down with your mouse to see each of the parameters. All right, we're doing that. Note how the message area contains info about each parameter. You click on a parameter to select it for editing, or use the up and down arrow keys on your keyboard. I've just done that, and here's where you click it. Okay. Now, you can also use the buttons below the parameter area to navigate the parameters. Let's adjust the phase using these buttons. Okay, so let's just do the next param until we get to the phase. It'll be down here somewhere. Oops, we went a little too far. There we go. We've selected the phase. Now, use the right and left arrow keys to select which digit you want to adjust. We're going to select the tens digit. Okay. Digit up will raise the digit. Digit down brings it back. Okay, so that's pretty neat. Now below these buttons is the default button. This defaults the selected parameter, which happens to be phase. When we click that, it brings the phase back to 0, which is its default value. Okay, now below the default button is the activate button. This is enabled when a parameter has a corresponding function. Well, this can be seen in settings when we select bounce. There is bounce selected and the activate button is green. Okay, click activate to enter bounce, and you can click any function button to exit bounce. Okay, Next, we move on to the triggers and group area. Here we see no outputs have any triggers enabled, and no outputs have been grouped. When we enable a trigger for any output, that trigger will be enabled also. Okay, so we're going to enable output 0, and there goes trigger 0. It's enabled now. Okay, now we can trigger that output by clicking trigger. Notice it turns dark green to indicate that the trigger is active. We want to do more than one. We just select another, click trigger. Now both of those are active. Now when you want to, if you disable all the outputs for a given trigger, well, that trigger is disabled again. Okay, so now we move on to the groups. Grouping is a powerful feature. When outputs are grouped, adjustments to any output in the group will affect all the outputs in the group. So let's group outputs 0 and 1. Okay, now the group button is active. Notice here these turn purple to show that they have been grouped. Let's go to output 1. It has a different waveform, right? Output 0 has a sine waveform. Well, let's change the waveform of output 0 to a haystack. Okay, now we go to output 1, and what do you know? It has a haystack waveform also. So let's change the sine here. We go to output 0, and there it is, a sine. Okay, now suppose you want to suspend that for a while. You could disable these outputs, make an adjustment, then re-enable them. Or you could click the group button, and what that does is that temporarily disables the group. So we're in output 0 now. Let's change the waveform to a haystack, and output 1 still retains the sine. Okay, say we want to re-enable the group. We can change sine to ramp. Go to output 0, and it's a ramp now. So grouping is a powerful feature, and you can use it for a lot of different things. Okay, let's turn that off. Now we're onto the sliders. These allow quick adjustments to frequently used parameters, as well as an easily grasped picture of those parameter values. Let's take a look at randomness as an example. And we'll just click on that, and sure enough, we increase the randomness of the waveform. Okay, now note that when a CV has been enabled to modulate a parameter, there's an indication that that parameter has been modulated by the CV, or is being modulated by the CV. Now let's try this for CV1. We can add another one. Here we go. And now the scale. It says, well, hey, look out. Scale is being affected by CV1. Okay, let's turn this off. And we can go back to randomness here on CV0. Turn it off. Now nothing is modulating any of these parameters. Okay, well, that's about it for today. Remember that all Greenface Labs designs are open source and are or will be available on GitHub. Check out greenfacelabs.com for more info, or if you'd like to purchase a kit or finished module. This was part 1 of a 2-part video. Stay tuned for part 2, where we show how to draw, import, and export waveforms, and how to take snapshots and record macros. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like it if you liked it. Feel free to leave a comment. I welcome all feedback. Bye.